Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance from the house of Herrera. It is called CH Men. Now I haven't done a review on another Carolina Herrera fragrance since 212, and it's been a while since I've kind of dived into this house to take a look at. I've actually been testing out some other fragrances from this house as well, 212 VIP, and there was one other I forgot, but I'll just grab my notes for that. In any case, this fragrance was released in the year of 2009. I don't have the bottle with me. This was gone off a couple samples, and so here is the actual bottle presentation for this. So, the bottle presentation is actually pretty interesting, though, and I have actually gotten to kind of play around with it a little bit at a department store, but still, it's kind of like an average-ish bottle. It doesn't really jump out and strike me as, an awesome bottle or anything like that. All right? So with that, let's go ahead and dive straight into the notes for this fragrance. The notes consist of, at our top, we've got bergamot, grapefruit, and grass. In our mid, we have saffron, nutmeg, woodsy notes, jasmine, and violet. In our base, we have oak moss, amber, vanilla, leather, sugar, vetiver, sandalwood, suede, and cashmere wood. Whew, that's a very bottom-heavy fragrance. But so this fragrance, I can tell you right off the bat, it started out really strange, and that's because I've gotten so many requests to actually review this fragrance that it's been on I guess you could say, a hype-ish train. Obviously, for those of you who know me, I don't believe in hype, or I don't believe in the concept of buying into hype. But I really was intrigued because so many people have been coming up to me saying, oh man, you gotta review this fragrance, you gotta review this fragrance. And when people do that, that usually means that they like the fragrance and they want me to validate whatever the heck it is they're thinking about the fragrance. So I may disappoint some of you on that, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you what my interpretation of this is. So starting off with the smell. When I first sprayed this, it reminded me almost instantly of 212, and that's because that's one of the very few fragrances that also has grass, that has this grassy smelling smell. But that kind of, went away for a second, and it kind of gave me this, a little bit of a citrusy type of a vibe to it, and then it gave me this smell that really kind of reminded me of Fahrenheit from the House of Christian Dior. And so I was kind of taken into like this little spin with a little petroleum-ish type of a vibe, and then to me, it was honestly weird at the top. Starting off, the first thing when I first sprayed it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be a hit." And then after about, I want to say 2 minutes, I was like, "Well, wait a second, this is kind of weird." The grass smell, the petroleum-ish type of smell, and I realized petroleum-ish type of smell isn't really that, and I realized that it was leather. So it's like this grassy-ish leather type of a smell that you get, and the citrus kind of subsides, but it still remains sweet. So the vanilla brings the sweetness. And then a couple other things bring the sweetness in it as well, which I'm going to get to. As you kind of get to the dry down, you get this woody type of a smell for it. And it really comes out pronounced, like the cashmere wood, the wood comes out pronounced to it. So that was my first impression of this fragrance when I first sprayed it. And then I was like, okay, well, let me think what other people are saying. And so I went on, I think it was Fragrantica, looked at some reviews and realized, and somebody said it, and it hit me like a bolt of lightning of what it smelled like. And because one of the things about Fragrantica, if you look on the site, is that when you choose a fragrance, you look and see what notes people pick out the most for a fragrance. And on this one, the sugar note was there. I don't know what sugar smells like. I've gone up to the packets of white sugar, smelled it. I don't smell anything. It's not something that I can pick up. And so I was kind of confused about that. And then somebody mentioned sugarcane. And it hit me like a bolt of lightning. I was like, oh yeah, this really does smell like sugarcane. And so that's maybe what they mean by sugar. And I am completely on board with it. And that's when my almost perspective of the fragrance changed completely. It went from, this weird, grassy, leathery type of a smell to a sugarcane type of a fragrance. And, for those of you who don't know, I'm half Jamaican, and a lot of my family is from Jamaica. And so obviously, I spent a good deal of time in Jamaica and traveling back and forth. And one of the things that is awesome that I absolutely loved was the sugar cane. And I'm talking about the type of sugar cane that, you bite, you suck on, you kind of chew. It's got this very sweet taste to it. that is what reminded me of the sugar scent. So this smells like sugarcane. It smells heavily like sugarcane with a dash of citrus on top of it, vanilla coming in, and it has a very heavy suede presence that comes in. So it's like sugarcane and suede. So it's sweet, but it doesn't smell too sweet. So it doesn't smell sickly sweet is what I'm trying to say. Sugarcane is a very, I guess you could say, a natural smelling sweetness. And that really kind of is what I'm getting from CH Men. It's very palatable, it's very wearable, it's very, it's something that works well in most scenarios. In other words, this is a sweet fragrance that I feel comfortable wearing to work. And it's something that worked extremely well for it. I still thought that it smelled a little bit weird, but with the sugarcane association, that weirdness kind of went away for it. And as far as people around me and compliments, they really started to pay attention to it, even because it's not too strong, which I'm going to get to a little bit later, but it still is very nice, and it really mixes well with a person's skin chemistry. And one last note, the dry down does kind of feel a little bit powdery. The other thing that I notice is it tends to be a little bit more floral in the dry down than most other fragrances that I've come across, so that's another thing to keep of note. Spray wise, I generally go between 3 and 5 sprays for this one, just because it's a little bit on the lighter side. It's not going to choke anyone out. The projection and the sillage are below average, but the longevity on this fragrance is naturally long. So we're talking about anywhere between 8 and 10 hours, and it's going to stay, nicely on your skin. So it's going to stay on your skin for a long time, but it's just not going to project and hit everyone through it. For the occasion-wise goes, I wear this to work. This is a fragrance that you can easily wear to work and casual situations, and sometimes, like after work situations, I think it will be good in. And the reason for that is it lacks the punch, the oomph that most fragrances have, and I generally demand that in my work fragrances, as I don't want to offend anyone. You don't want to be that person who is noticed for his fragrance in a negative way because it's too strong. And there are some people who are a little bit sensitive to it, and little fragrances, they're freaking out basically because you've sprayed fragrance. So this is one of those fragrances to wear when you want to avoid that. You're going to smell good, it's going to accomplish its job for it. As far as the season goes, season-wise, I think this is perfect for any season except for winter. I just don't think that it has the power for winter, although you could possibly get away with it. It's just not for me in the winter. Age group, any age group can wear this one. Whether you be old, younger, and this is something that older gentlemen are going to probably want to take a look at because it has a wearable sweetness. If you're looking for a sweet fragrance that's not going to make you feel too kiddie, this is the fragrance that you probably want to take a look at. And with all fragrances that I, try out, I take them to Times Square. I have 100 different people smell them, and I had enough of the sample to have people smell. So, 100 different people smell them, a relatively even breakdown between men and women. Of the people who smell them, 77 people like this fragrance. They said that it was fresh, masculine, and laid back. There were 20 people who disliked this fragrance, and they said that it was Play-Doh-y, weird, and feminine. Most of the guys said that it was feminine. That was kind of almost like a little run-through. But that's either the case. So if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I think this is a solid rating, or a solid fragrance from the House of Carolina Herrera. And I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8. Now, I was hesitating between 9 and 8, and I don't give 8.5s. Sorry. But the reason why it's not getting a 9 is, one, it does lack, power to it. Now, I did say that, yes, it's good that it doesn't have that power so you can wear it to work, but I still like my fragrances a little bit more powerful than this one because I can regulate how I smell with the amount of sprays they apply. With this one, you have to go a little bit heavier just because it is a little bit weaker than most fragrances that you're going to come across. 2, I do think that's a good fragrance, again, because it's a sweet fragrance that takes a different type of a sweetness to it. It's got a little grassy type of a feel, and it smells like sugarcane. Sugarcane, it's pretty unique in that there are not many fragrances that go that way. They either smell, too sweet and they're too cloying and everything like that, but this one goes a little bit in a different direction. This is definitely a unique fragrance. If you're looking for something to smell a little bit different, take a look at this fragrance. And finally, I want to give it an 8. Just because even though, I said those good things about it and everything like that, it's still not making it into my normal rotation. It's not making it into my normal rotation because I do have other fragrances that fit the bill. But again, if you're looking for a work fragrance, you don't have many work fragrances or something that's going to be a little bit subtle, take a look at this fragrance and you may be pleasantly surprised. One note of caution, try it on your skin. Absolutely must try it on your skin just because of that weird grassy, leathery type of a feel. Okay? So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to let me know. Send me a message, leave me a note, do whatever you got to do. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.